Hi everyone, I'm Carol Keller. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Illinois in the United States, and I have for you today 4 alternative cards to this month's Paper Pumpkin kit, which is called Sweet Springtime. I'm also using the 5th card as the 5th card, one of the cards that comes with the kit as it is intended to be made. And by doing that, I was able to make 21 cards from this month's kit. I hope you like all my alternatives. Let's get started. Here is the beautiful box that kit comes in. Remember always to check the back to make sure that you have all of the components that come, and contact Stampin' Up! If you don't. It also lists coordinating colors, which is really helpful, and some alternatives. And like I said, I ended up making this card just as it comes because I thought it was adorable, and I didn't, I thought it was a great idea, so I didn't change that up. But I used the boxes. So there are 3 cards, but I used the boxes, cut them apart. I'm going to show you how I did that. And I actually got 12 cards just out of the boxes. And the boxes and the card bases that are used for this card. So out of that, I got 12 cards. And then I used some of the other components, and I ended up with 21 altogether. So I hope you like the alternatives. Again, the kit comes with an early espresso ink pad, and they started last month including a little flyer that has the stamps. So this is wonderful so that you can keep track, keep them in a binder or something so that you have a record of all the stamps that come with the kits. So this is nice because you can kind of, like I said, come up with a little binder or booklet or something and then flip through and find what you need, because it says the name of the stamp set. And I think I will probably add the month and the year so that I know what I'm looking for too. But I think that's a great addition. And remember that the Love of Spring dies coordinate with this kit as well. The Daffodil coordinates, and I actually have been loving this tag die, and I used it several times for the cards from this kit. All right, let's get started. Here is the very first card that I designed, and I'm going to show you how I did it. I started with the box, and this is it. And I decided, I thought this was so pretty to be able to use this with the scallops and everything, but it does have score lines. I don't know how well you can see, but there are lots of score lines. And so I embossed it as a way of working around that. Before I get started with cutting this apart though, the first thing that I did do was just take some Scotch tape and put it over the back of where all the holes are. There are holes so that you can feed twine through. There's twine that comes with the kit, but I don't want those pieces to come out. And some of them did. I'm going to show you on my sample that one of the holes came out, and I don't know where it is. It probably disappeared maybe before it even got packaged up. So what I did, you can see right here, if you look closely, there's a hole there. But that was partly why I put the piece of Petal Pink on the end here. I wasn't going to do it. I was going to leave it white, but it's the same color virtually as the hole. And so unless you're looking for it, I don't think you really notice it. And so that's what I did. But first, before I did that, I cut everything apart. So just right on the score line in the middle that separates the two designs. And then cut it in half. Again on the score line. So here is the base for one card. And then this I just cut off the end here to make the base for the other one. And then I took the rest and I cut that off as well. Maybe I'll turn it this way. So cutting off the excess. Oops, wrong one. And actually I can see there are little holes there. I'm going to cut it just a little bit over, because in the long run it doesn't matter. And then I cut these into 4. Again, just using, whoops, the score lines. cutting off the little flap. And so these I'm going to use for the second card. So as you can see, we're going to use 2 on one card and 2 on another. So from one box, you can get 2 of these cards and 2 of these. And these are just scraps. So the next thing that I'm going to do is emboss, run this through the embossing folder. And so I'm going to do that and be right back. And this is the embossing folder that I used. I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but it makes little flowers and it's got some designs around. And it comes in a 2-pack with this one, which I think is great for masculine cards. And these are called the Fun Patterns Embossing Folders, and they are part of our online exclusives. So if you don't know about online exclusives, they are just products for purchase that are not pictured in any catalog. You can only see them online. So people then worry, do you have to order them differently or anything? No. All you're doing is getting the item number from online, but you can order through your demonstrator, you can order online yourself, you can order in the usual ways. All right, so let's bring that in. So again, it's got flowers and some designs around, and it makes the score lines that were originally there disappear just like magic. All right, so I am starting with a basic white card base. And it may see what this one looks like just with the white instead of the petal pink. So if we do this, but let me bring in the other component is one of the card bases, and I just cut it in half, cut it on the score line, and then cut it to fit. I believe it was a little longer. Here is actually the original card base. So again, I just cut it on the score line and then I cut it down. It's the same width. I just cut it down to 5.5 inches so that it would fit on the card. So we're going to put those on. I'm going to start doing this with my multi-purpose liquid glue and lining it up with the left side of the card and obviously the top and bottom. And so we could leave it like this. I think I do like the petal pink, so we're going to bring that in. I already have a strip cut. It is 1 inch. I think it might be just a smidge more. Let's see. Yes, I did it 1 1/16 inches because when I did the first card, the inch wasn't quite wide enough. So I did it 1 1/16 inches, and it'll overlap the back just a little bit, but better to overlap than not to have enough room. We don't want any white spaces. So again, I'm using my glue. And we'll line that up here, butting it up right against that other piece of the card base, like that. So yeah, there's a tiny bit of overlap, but we're not going to worry about that because it's not going to matter. And then this also, I'm going to use, since I have it handy, my glue. You can use your Stampin' Seal too. Ah, this is interesting. I didn't realize this. This is debossed, so the raised part is on the back, and this is embossed with the raised part on the front. So let's see what that looks like. I think they look good either way. You have your choice. And that was just accidental. I thought I used the embossing folders the same way, but apparently I had it flipped over for one of them. And then we're going to just center this on the right side so that there's an even mat all the way around of that petal pink. Move it over just a little bit and straighten it out. And then give it a press so that glue adheres. And then this comes from the kit. It's one of the die cuts from the kit, and there are 6 in there, so you have enough for all 6 cards. And that I'm going to use with my Stampin' Seal to adhere that. Whoops. And put that, and I made it so it was level and overlap just a tad. Maybe we'll back it up a little bit with that petal pink. And so then we're going to do some stamping. The tag, like I said, comes from the die cuts, the Love of Spring dies. And then Springtime Greetings comes from the kit. And I'm bringing in Granny Apple Green because that coordinates. And we'll ink that up. I absolutely love this glass mat studio. If you are at all interested in being a demonstrator and you don't have someone to sign up under, contact me, because if you sign up under me, first of all, we have a lot of fun on my team, and second of all, you would get this glass mat studio for free. It's a $60 value. Comes with a chamois to clean it, so you can ink right on it. You can get adhesive on it and it wipes off with the chamois. It's amazing. And then it's got a little tray, a silicone tray that does not move on whatever surface you put it, the glass mat or my wood table. It's wonderful. So if you're interested, reach out between now and February 29th, because that's when it ends. And then on the inside, I stamped Happy Easter, also in the Granny Apple Green. Switch here. I love it. With the grid there, you can line it up and make sure it's straight. So that's it for the Granny Apple Green, and then we have one more thing to stamp, and for that I'm bringing in Pecan Pie. And we have that cute little bunny. Bring the theme right to the inside. And then I'm also going to do the same thing on the front of the envelope. So let's close that. Bring in the envelope, ink up again. Isn't he cute? That's it for our stamping. And I didn't even bump it up or anything, the sentiment with dimensionals, but you could if you wanted. I just used my seal. And we'll put that up here. And then last but not least, some bling. I found that the Adhesive-Backed hearts and flowers coordinate perfectly. These go perfectly. I'm sliding off the larger one and putting it there. And if I had more, I might have scattered them, but I think actually that's pretty good. Since there are the flowers here, you don't need too much in the way of embellishments, but I just love the way they coordinated perfectly. All right, that is card number 1. Here is the second card that I designed, and again, using those other pieces from the box. So I'm going to bring those in. And then I cut a die, I believe the second largest one, from the Stylish Shapes dies. And here they are. So again, second largest one, because that was about the size of this. Maybe it's a hair smaller, but I thought it worked nicely paired with those. And I'm going to bring in again a basic white card base. So I tried to make these cards simple, but still I used almost all of the stamps. The only stamp that I did not use was the Welcome Baby or something. Yes, it says Welcome Baby. So that was the only one I didn't use, and that's only because I did not need stamps for a new baby or cards for a new baby. So, all right, for assembly, I'm just grabbing my Stampin' Seal. And I put the first one up in the left corner on the top, matching up the diamonds with the corners and making sure it's straight. For this one, I'm just going to attach it on the bottom right, like this. And again, I had issues with it not being straight, so I'm going to use my grid paper to help me to make it straight. I think that's good. And now we're going to do some stamping. And so I have the flower stamp that comes with the set, and I'm using my Stampin' Right markers, not your blends. Remember to, when you go directly to your stamp, you cannot use the blends because they're alcohol based. Not only will they stain the stamp, but it may degrade it over time. So you want your Stampin' Right markers. And I've got Pumpkin Pie, Granny Apple Green, and Daffodil Delight. And I think we'll start with the Daffodil Delight. So I just have my brush end and holding it almost parallel, pretty much parallel to the stamp. You don't want to do it with the point, you want to lay it on the side like that. And we're going to lay some color on the petals of the daffodil, just like that. Make sure I've got some good coverage. Then I'm grabbing the pumpkin pie for the center of the daffodil. And so I'm making sure I get it around the edge of that too. And the same thing on this one. And last but not least, we've got the Granny Apple Green for the stems and the leaves. And it's nice because you don't have to be really precise. You kind of just lay that color on, just making sure that you don't muddy the colors by overlapping them. But it's pretty easy not to do that. Now on this one, I centered those daffodils, but I think I'm going to raise them up a little bit. So I'm going to turn this in a diamond shape, and again, using my grid to make sure that it's even. And I'm going to do it up here more this time. And so then this is how it looks, but I saw that it was very light. So now I'm actually going to bring in my blends and we're going to color them in. So first I'm bringing in light pumpkin pie and light daffodil delight. And I'm just going to color. And again, you want your blends for this because I think it just, they work a little bit better than the Stampin' Right markers with not having streaks or lines. And I'm just coloring in the flower. And I'm not coloring in the leaves because they're going to be covered by the sentiment. And I could have stamped the sentiment right away, but it is probably better to do your coloring and then go back just on the off chance that this is not dry, because we don't want it to muddy things. And then I'm going to bring in my dark pumpkin pie and dark daffodil delight to add a little bit of definition, and this will be obviously with the bullet end. Just giving those lines some more definition. Now I'm going to bring in my Granny Apple Green ink pad to stamp that sentiment. Springtime greetings. And we're going to move it toward the bottom. And again, I'm going to line this up so it's straight. And then on the inside, I did Thinking of You because I'm going to actually send this to a friend. But I think for this card, I'm going to do Happy Easter because I do need to make some Easter cards too. And then I put a daffodil on the outside and the inside to decorate. So we can move this out of the way. Oh, and actually, one more thing before we finish assembly. For the envelope, I took that same stamp and colored it again, and then stamped it on the outside. So this time, I just stamped it like I did the first without coloring it in. And so that's what I did for the envelope. I won't do that again on camera, but that's what I did. And so now for the rest of the assembly, oh, before we put this on too, that's right, I need my Granny Apple Green ink pad one more time because I inked around the edges with my sponge dauber. And this time I'm going to be a little more careful. I was working very quickly and I went over and I only really wanted it on the edge, and so then I had to cover that up by kind of going and adding ink inside, but I really didn't want to do that, so I'm going to be a little more careful this time. But I did want it pretty dark around the edges. I really want some definition so that when we put it and it hits the white, it's got some definition to distinguish it from the white background, since this is white also. Oh yeah, that's much better, I think. So now we're done with the ink. And I'm going to give that just a minute to dry. So now I am going to bring in the die cuts. All right, and here they are. And so the way I did these is I used the Love of Spring die, and I laid I had adhesive sheets on the back of these papers, and I laid this on a scrap of Granny Apple Green and cut it out without cutting out the top. And then the same thing, I cut the flower on Daffodil Delight with just little scraps like this. So you can see there are tiny little bits, like this needs to be green, so we're going to cut that off. And the same thing with this one. And this one cut okay right at the top. And then this will cut off like this. And then we will finish assembly. So let's put this, and again, I didn't bump it up, but maybe I will this time. We'll use some dimensionals. There are some that come with the kit. So we'll just put some of those on the back. You could use your foam adhesive strips too, especially because this is a little bit bigger. If you did do that, then you just put 3 strips on the back, and it's a little bit quicker and easier than the dimensionals, but either one will work. But I want enough on here so that it's not going to sag. And I'm going to take the paper off. And then we're going to center this again between the two. So I wanted kind of an even space on each side here and here. Let me move it down just a smidge. And again, making sure that it's straight. So I'm lining it up with the lines this way. And then all we have to do is peel the adhesive backing off of our die cuts and place that little daffodil. Let's see if I can peel it with my fingers. And then lay it here. You could take your pick tool for this too, but sometimes fingers are just as easy. And we're going to line that right up here. And then do the same thing on the inside. Make sure you always burnish it so that the adhesive can catch and stick to your project. And then our flower. So the only thing we have left is to add a little bit of bling. And for that, I'm using the 2022-2024 In Color Pearls. And these are actually technically Parakeet Party, but you can see they match so nicely. So for this, I am going to grab my Take Your Pick tool and just kind of scatter them around like I did on the first card. To draw your eye around the card. And that is card number 2. For card number 3, I used the back of the card base on one of the cards. So this is the card that I'm going to make as it comes with the kit because I just thought it was adorable. But we're going to use this for another card. And that way we get twice as many cards. Instead of 3, we get 6. So we're just going to cut that right on the score line and save this for the other card. And I'm going to grab another basic white card base. And for this, you can see just a little tiny bit of the score line. So I'm going to put that at the bottom because we're going to be covering that up. So for this, I'm going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue. And now for this one, I'm using the Sending Love dies for that little grass. That's what I wanted, was some little grass on the bottom, and that die works perfectly. This is a really fun bundle, the Sending Love stamp set and dies. The dies work perfectly for that grass that I needed. So I've already cut that out, and the die is not 5.5 inches long. It's more, I think actually you can kind of see it ends here. It's more for the length this way than this way, but all I did was just cut a longer strip, ran it through my die cutting machine once, and then set it right next to it and ran it through again, and then cut it to size. So hopefully that makes sense. And I'm going to put that on with, again, the glue. And it's nice because just a very thin bead is going to hold it nice and tight. That is one thing about the glue, is it adheres really well. I'm going to put that along the bottom. And actually, it looks like it's a smidge long. I'm going to move it over. Like that. And then trim that end on the left. Just going to give that a little snip. And now we're going to do some stamping. And this time I'm using my Memento Black. Last time I used it, I got it all over me, so I'm going to try very hard not to do that again. And I'm just taking the bunny that comes with the kit. Make sure he's got good ink on his eyes there. And I'm taking the flowers. And the little chick. Then while I have the ink here and the chick stamp handy, I'm also going to stamp a chick on the front corner of the envelope. Like that. Isn't it cute? I love the little animals with this set. So, and I believe on the inside I used a different color. So I think, oh no, I didn't do anything on the inside of this one. Well, we're going to have to fix that. All right. So what I did for all of these was color with my blends. Now that we've used the Memento, which is the ink that we use when we're coloring, I have my Stampin' blends, and I'm not going to color everything on camera, but I will show you what I used. On this one, I actually used Flirty Flamingo for the ears, but I'm going to use maybe the dark petal pink, or the dark petal pink for the ears. Because I think that, you know, it matches better since this is petal pink. But initially I had a different background. I cut apart one of the envelopes that's checked like this, but it's green, in the greens. And then I decided I like the pink better, nicer contrast. But I used petal pink for the ears. And I used dark pumpkin pie for the beak. And again, using my bullet end and the little feet. And light Daffodil Delight for the chick. With some dark Daffodil Delight around the accented parts like this. And here. I used the dark Daffodil Delight, I'm trying to remember now, for the centers. And I used the light Daffodil Delight for the flowers. And again, so I did the chick the same way on the envelope. And then for the bunny, I used I used the SU 500, and that's what I used to color in the bunny, and then Granny Apple Green for the leaves. And then I fussy cut them. So I cut everything out because we don't have dies for that. And I've already done that. So here is the bunny and the chick and the flowers. And I wanted to do just a little cutting to show you, because I really cut close to the edge. I didn't want the white parts to show. So even for the whiskers, after I cut everything out, I kind of came in like this to see if I could get even a little bit more of that white out from in between the whiskers. Like this. And then for the flowers on this side, it's easy to get in there, but here there are spaces that keep you from getting in between. And so what I did was cut along what looks like the outside flower. And so they are gonna kind of fly free a little bit, which you'll see in a minute. And cut around like this to get that white part out of the center. Paper snips are great for this. And then there's a little tiny piece in here that needs to be cut out that's white also. Whoops. And then here. So hopefully you can see this on camera. So we're just snipping around. And then just this little piece here. And so that way you can do it with and not have any white showing. And now all we have to do is add these. And I'm using my seal for the bunny. And I tucked them underneath the grass. Like that. And actually, we could probably use, if I was able to, I would have used my adhesive sheets. And I guess I could have put it on the back of the basic white and then cut it out. But since I didn't do that, I am going to use, I think, my glue for this, since some of the parts are pretty small. So we'll put some there. And I do want to make sure that everything lays down and stays adhered, because some of these, like the stems and leaves, are so narrow, I don't want them to break off. So we'll use that and tuck that over here. And then we kind of put it back together a little bit. And then our little chick, we'll use some seal for him. And I did it like this. All right, now for the rest of our stamping, I cut out, again, one of those labels from the Love of Spring dies, this time in Daffodil Delight, bringing in my Granny Apple Green again to stamp Happy Easter. And then on the inside, we'll use Springtime Greetings again. And I think this time we'll stamp the chick inside. So I'm going to bring in Daffodil Delight for that, because we don't necessarily want to color the chick, because if we do that, then it's going to show through. If we use the blends to color it, it's going to show through on the back of the card, and I don't want that. So we'll just add that little chick in Daffodil Delight. And then that is the end of our stamping. And I am going to just put this on with seal. I really wanted the animals to be and the flowers to be more prominent, so I'm not going to bump this up, but we're going to move it over this way, centered among all the elements. And then I'm bringing in my brushed brass butterflies. You can see they are well loved. That's all I have left. I have another whole package, but that's all I have left because I've used them so much. And there are two sizes. There's a smaller size too, but I think the bigger ones work nicely for this. Whoops. And so we're going to put one by the flowers and one, whoops, what is happening? One on the label. And one above the label like this. And then that is it for card number 3. And then here is the last of the cards that I designed. Again, using elements from the kit because I had used the card base, I believe, that's supposed to go with this. Yes, it goes on the green one that we cut apart for the first card. So I decided to do something very similar, but using components that I still had from the kit. So again, I'm starting with a basic white card base. And this time we are cutting apart the envelope. And there's a little bit of a trick to this, so I'm going to show it to you because this envelope is small and you can see it's not as wide as our card. So I'm going to show you how to kind of get around that. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer. And we're going to take a little slice off of each end so that we can open it up. Whoops. Move it up so you can see. And a little slice off of this end. Oops, I didn't get all the way through. There we go. Open it up, and now we have a big surface. So we're going to cut off the white part. Let's bring that down again. And now the only issue is that these taper in, and we want it to be the same width all the way across. We don't want that taper, so we're going to start, actually, I think I'm going to cut this. It looks a little crooked. I'm going to recut it. Let's see. Yeah, that looks better. So I'm just going to trim off one end to the point where it doesn't taper in anymore. And then we need it 4¼ inch, or 4 inches, because I left a little border on the card. So 4 inches this way. And 5½ this way. So I've already done this end. I'm going to do the other end. And then we have our surface that we need for the card. There is a little fold line, but we're going to cover most of that up, so I'm not even that worried. You could use your bone folder, try to smooth it out a little bit, but really, especially where it is on this card, it doesn't show that much, which is nice. So I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal. And we'll line it up. Whoops, I cut that too long, I can see. Before I finish adhering, we're going to fix that. I meant to cut it at 5¼ and I cut it at 5½. So let's fix that. And it's a little sticky, but that's all right. And that's why I cut it this side up so that most of the adhesive won't adhere to my trimmer. So let's try that again. And I'm going to add just a little more adhesive on this end. Now we'll center it on the card. And then I've got some components from the kit. And these are meant to be used together, all three of these, but just on a different card base. So we're just mimicking what was on the other card. And that was going to be then a narrow card, and this is standard card size. So we can put this on right away with our seal. And when you center it, it's pretty close. And actually I moved it toward the top. And it's pretty close to that fold line, so I think it helps hide it, plus so does the wreath. And on the card in the kit, they put the wreath this way, and I just decided I liked it better this way. It really doesn't matter. You can do whichever you prefer, but I'm going to put that on with some seal. Centered around those cute little chicks. And then we're going to do some stamping. And I think you really could do the banner either way. Maybe we'll do it this way this time and see what that looks like. Again, I'm bringing in my Granny Apple Green and the Happy Easter stamp. And then on the inside, springtime greetings. Just using what's in the kit for the most part here this time. And I just think those sentiments pair nicely together. And I didn't do it on that one, but I think we're going to do that little chick again with the Daffodil Delight. I think that's makes a nice addition. And then on the envelope, I'm going to do the same thing. Stamp the chick. And I'm also going to stamp Happy Easter in the Granny Apple Green. And so there's our envelope and our inside. Maybe I did do it on the inside and just didn't see it. I did do the chick. I thought I had. And then this is going to go on with seal again. And down here, like that. Let me see, it looks a little crooked. So I think the banner is meant to be a little crooked. We want the Happy Easter to be straight. Okay, and now on this, I actually used the Iridescent Pearls Basic Jewels, both the large and the small, but then I remembered after the fact, there was some bling that came with the kit. And here it is. So we're going to use that this time because why not? And I'm going to do the same thing that I did, scatter them around. Let's see, maybe here. And the little one up here, just like I did. And then I have one of those little brass butterflies left. So I'm going to bring that in and finish out the package and include that on the sentiment because I thought that made a nice addition. I know what the problem is. I need more putty on my Take Your Pick tool. Come on. And then that goes right here. All right, so what do you think? That is card number 4. I'll be right back. And on card number 5, like I said, it comes right from the kit. All right, for card number 5, I haven't even done the sample. So I'm just going to, I have my flyer off screen that shows how to assemble it. And that's what I'm going to do. So if you know how to follow it from the kit, you don't need to see this part. You can just kind of scroll through to the end. But I have, again, the card base that we cut off earlier. And I'm going to put that on with multi-purpose liquid glue. And then this also comes with the kit, and I have punched it out. There's actually one little piece that needs to come out. And then these they just put on with the glue dots that come with the kit. So let me just, oops, there's another one. Several of them hiding. I took out one of these little pieces earlier too, so just make sure you get them here, here, and here. And these are actually from an older kit. And they just put one in each corner. I'm actually going to put on a few more than that. All right, so I just want to show you quickly, I put a bunch around the edges, and now I'm going to take the paper off. And then we're going to lay it over here like this. Again, centering it and leaving a little border around the edge. Like that. And now we're going to do some stamping. So I have the little label from the kit, and we're going to stamp Happy Easter. And for that, I am going to bring in my Early Espresso ink pad because I think that's the best color since this is so dark. And then this goes up at the top with my seal. And they have it like this toward the end. Or toward the right-hand side, I guess. And then they've got some daffodils. And I see they are overlapping. So like this one goes here. And let's see if we can find the one that goes here. I'm gonna say maybe this one. Well, maybe not. I guess it doesn't have to be exact, but I see that that one lines up, so I feel like there should be one that also lines up. But I don't know, they're all different. And it shows like this, I think. Let's see. I guess it doesn't matter, but we'll use one of those. And so they have several scattered on the bottom. And I think I'm going to use my dimensionals for this. So I'm going to bring those back in. We'll put that one there. Could use your minis for this too, but I'm just going to use what comes with the kit. And then that makes a nice, yeah, I like that, a nice little overlap. I think we'll do this one. This is just, it looks larger, so it'll cover more of that other flower. Like that. And then at the bottom, they've got one on the left, like that, overlapping two, and then the other two on the right-hand side. And so we'll put one here, and then the other one like this. I like that. I like the way it gives it some more dimension. And then they use those cute little dots. So we'll bring those back in, and they've got them scattered around. So I think I'm going to do my own thing here. But they've got 5 of them scattered around, so let's see where we want to put them. I think we'll do a large and a small. And then I like pairing the large and the small ones together. Whoops. I think we're going to put some on the banner. And then we'll do another little one on the other end up here. All right, and that's a little different from what they did, but again, personal preference, you can put them wherever you'd like. And then for the inside, a little sticky spot there. For the inside, we're gonna take that springtime springtime greetings again and the granny apple green again. Just because I have it handy, you could pretty much use any color. And I think we need that bunny on the inside. Oh boy. Let's see if we can fix that. Oh, love the photopolymer. Hopefully my head wasn't in the way. There's no way you can do that without standing up. And then let me see, is there a chick? No, they're just bunnies. So yeah, I think we're going to take that bunny and we'll bring back the early espresso. And we'll stamp him again. Over here. And we'll do the same thing on the envelope. And I did forget to say, talking about the envelope, you could use the envelope for, well, let me bring back everything. But anyway, this is card number 5. So again, pretty much just the way it is in the brochure that comes with the kit. But my goal was to use all the components. And like I said, I just liked that card, so I wanted to use it the way it was. But here are the other cards. And so there they all are. So there are envelopes that look like this. So if you wanted to, you could easily make more, or you can just use the envelopes for this card. So altogether, you can make 6 of these cards, 6 of these cards, which is 12. 3 of these is 15. 3 of these is 18, and 3 of these is 21. But actually, because all the components come from somewhere else besides this, and there are envelopes, you could make 3 more. So you could actually get 24 cards from this kit. So that's it. Those are my alternatives. I hope you like them. I really appreciate you watching every month. It means a lot to me when you watch and when you subscribe. If you click on the bell, you'll be notified when I post a new video. I try to do paper pumpkin alternatives every month, at least a couple. So I was excited to do more this time. I looked at the kit and kind of overnight was percolating with some ideas, especially how to use that piece without the score line showing. And I think using an embossing folder definitely does the trick. But I used, like I said, every stamp in the kit except for the welcome baby, and that was only because I didn't need a baby card. I needed some Easter cards, so you could sub it out if that's what you need. And I use pretty much every component in the kit as well. I'm pretty sure I haven't finished assembling all of them, but I'm pretty sure I won't have any leftovers. So I hope you like them. Like I said, thanks for watching. If you are interested in becoming a demonstrator and you don't have a demonstrator that you work with, please reach out, because from now until only February 29th, not that much longer, you can get this Glass Mat Studio for free, which is a $60 value when you include the chamois and the little tray that comes with it. You can get it for free in addition to choosing $125 in merchandise for your starter kit. Or if you don't want the Glass Mat Studio, you can choose $155 in merchandise. So it's really a phenomenal deal. And then you get the discount, which who doesn't love that? So if you have any questions about that or you're interested in signing up, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help you with that. Thanks for watching. Take care, everyone. Happy stamping.